You're alone in your apartment, nobody is watching, and you're having a full conversation with your cat. Not baby talk, a real conversation. You told it about your day. You asked its opinion on something. When it meowed back, you said, "I know, right?" and meant it. And the wildest part is that somewhere in your brain, it felt completely normal. You're not alone. Millions of people do this every single day. They argue with their dogs. They narrate their fish's inner life. They apologize to their houseplants. And almost everyone does it privately, slightly embarrassed, like it's a personal quirk they developed in isolation. It's not a quirk. It's not a personality trait. It's not even modern. It's 40,000 years old. And it may be one of the most important things the human brain ever learned to do. Let's go back to the beginning. Around 40,000 years ago, deep inside caves in southern France and northern Spain, humans were doing something extraordinary. They were painting animals on walls. Not crude scratches. Sophisticated, detailed, breathtaking artwork. Horses rendered mid-gallop. Lions with muscles visible under painted fur. Mammoths with expressions that look almost emotional. Here's what's strange about these paintings. The animals weren't just symbols. They weren't maps or hunting guides or simple records of what existed outside. Many of the animals were painted in ways that suggest the artist was trying to capture something internal. A feeling, a personality, an inner life.
In Chauvet Cave in France, a cave lion is painted staring directly outward. Not at prey, not running, just staring. With an expression that looks almost like it's thinking. Someone 36,000 years ago stood in a cave by firelight and tried to paint what a lion was thinking. That is not a person documenting nature. That is a person projecting inner life onto an animal. And it is the same impulse that makes you tell your cat about your bad day. Psychologists have a name for it. Anthropomorphism. The tendency to assign human characteristics, emotions, and intentions to non-human things. And for a long time, scientists thought it was a cognitive error, a glitch, something humans did because they weren't thinking clearly. But the research tells a completely different story. Anthropomorphism isn't a malfunction. It's one of the most sophisticated things the human brain does, and it may have been essential to human survival. Here's why. The human brain has a system called the theory of mind. It's the ability to model what another being is thinking, feeling, and likely to do next. When you look at another person and intuitively understand that they're angry or nervous or about to make a bad decision, that's your theory of mind working. It's the foundation of everything social. Language, cooperation, trust, deception, empathy. None of it works without the ability to model another mind. And here's the thing about the theory of mind. It doesn't come with an off switch. Once the human brain developed the ability to read minds, it started reading minds everywhere. In faces, in postures, in movements, in shadows, in animals, in weather, in fire, in anything that moved unpredictably. For an ancient human in a world full of animals that could kill them, this wasn't a flaw. It was essential. A hunter who could model what a prey animal was thinking was a better hunter. A person who could read the body language of a predator before it attacked survived more often than someone who couldn't. The ability to look at an animal and think it's scared, or it's about to charge, or it wants something was not poetic. It was life-saving. And your brain inherited that system in full, completely intact, running at full power. Which means when your dog tilts its head while you're talking, your theory of mind fires automatically. It reads the tilt. It assigns meaning. It says, this creature is listening, processing, trying to understand me. And before your conscious brain can intervene and say, it's a dog, it doesn't understand English, the emotional response has already happened. You felt understood by a dog. And that feeling is real, even if the interpretation is wrong. Because the system that generated it evolved over hundreds of thousands of years specifically to make you pay attention to other minds. It doesn't know the difference between a human mind and a dog's. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The animals weren't entirely passive in this process. They were responding. Dogs in particular evolved over 15,000 years of living alongside humans to become extraordinarily good at triggering exactly this response. Dogs developed facial muscles that wolves don't have, specifically the muscles that create that eyebrow raise. The one that makes a dog's eyes look wide, soft, and expressive in a way that is almost impossible for humans not to respond to. Scientists tested this. Dogs that used their eyebrow muscles more frequently were adopted from shelters faster. Not because they were better behaved, not because they were healthier,
because they looked more emotionally expressive, because they triggered the human theory of mind more effectively. Your dog learned to hack your brain over 15,000 years of evolution, and it worked so well that you now narrate its inner monologue out loud in a voice 3 octaves higher than your normal speaking voice. Cats took a different approach. Cats developed a specific vocalization, the meow, that adult cats almost never use with each other in the wild. It exists almost entirely as a communication tool aimed at humans. Over thousands of years, cats learned that certain sounds triggered human attention and care responses. Some researchers believe the meow may have evolved to mimic the frequency of a human infant's cry, the sound the human brain is most neurologically hardwired to respond to immediately. Your cat is not meowing because it forgot how to be a cat. It is deploying a carefully evolved acoustic manipulation tool that took thousands of years to develop. And your brain, because it cannot turn off its mind-reading system, hears it as a voice, assigns it a personality, responds to it like a person. And you have a conversation. Now here's the part that changes everything. Talking to animals isn't just a cognitive quirk that evolution forgot to remove. Recent research suggests it's actually a sign of high social intelligence, not low intelligence. People who anthropomorphize strongly tend to score higher on empathy measures. They're better at reading other humans. They form stronger social bonds. They're more attuned to emotional nuance in relationships. The same brain system that makes you give your dog a voice in your head makes you unusually good at understanding the people around you. Your theory of mind is so well developed, so sensitive, so constantly active, that it finds minds to read even when there aren't any. That overflow, that excess of social sensitivity, is the thing that makes you good at being human. The cave painter who stared at a lion for long enough to understand its expression well enough to paint it was almost certainly also extraordinarily good at reading other humans, at predicting what they do, at navigating the complex social dynamics of a small tribe where one wrong move could get you exiled into the dark. Anthropomorphism wasn't the distraction from survival, it was the training ground for it. And tonight, when you get home and your dog loses its mind with joy because you walk through the door, you're going to say something to it. You're going to ask how its day was, or tell it you missed it, or comment on its general behavior in a full, grammatically correct sentence. And your dog is going to look at you with those specifically evolved eyebrow muscles raised in that specific way that its ancestors developed over 15 millennia specifically to make you feel understood. And both of your brains are going to release oxytocin, the same hormone involved in human parent-child bonding, the same chemical that makes love feel like love. And none of it will feel weird, because it isn't. It's ancient. It's wired in. It's been running since a human stood in a cave 40,000 years ago and tried to paint what a lion was thinking. You're not talking to your pet because you're strange. You're talking to your pet because you're human. And being human has always meant finding a mind in everything that moves.